Zealand as we see the lineup. Furthest away from you, two youngsters for Australia. Kim Crow on the right in the bow, Sarah Cook, 21 years of age. Interesting to see how they fare today. A little more experience, Christina Gherkin, who's 22, and Elke Hippler in the stroke seat there from Hanover. She was fifth in the German Olympic 8. For Canada, Darcy Marquardt from Vancouver and Jane Rumble from London in Ontario. And they were the fastest in the semis in 7:10. Megan Cook for the USA with her partner Anna Mikkelsen in the stroke seat from Los Gatos and Seattle respectively. Germany represented by Maren Derlien and Nicole Zimmermann, two German crews in this lineup. This is the German #1 boat in lane 5 from Hamburg and Rostock, that pair. And closest to you, another Australian outfit in the golden vest there, Amber Bradley from Perth Rowing Club, third in the World Championship double sculls last year, and Kate Hornsey, her partner, who comes out of the World Championship winning 8 and women's 4. She got no less than 2 gold medals for her country last year, so very interesting to see how they go from the what seems to be the generally unfavoured lane 6.
Yes, this is a curious event and different from some of the ones we've been looking at earlier. There they are off the start, and of these 6 crews, 4 will be taking part later in the day in women's 8s.
Well, that's, I think, a really good sign, Hugh, because I think everybody in the world of rowing knows that we do need doubling up to actually increase both the volume and the quality of 8s racing, and it's a well-trodden path, but it's nice to see more countries taking it on.
If we want to have a lot of athletes at the Olympic Games and also a lot of events on the water, then it should be possible to get crews to double up. And so this example where the 2 Australian pairs and the 2 German pairs are also rowing in the 8s later on is standard fare, or should become standard fare. The fact is that the kind of training they do nowadays and the general levels of fitness mean that you recover so quickly that you can easily handle 8 races in a long weekend like this. Of course it has a bit of an effect, and you can have a little internal moan to yourself when you've got 500 halfway over the 8th race and you're on your 8th race of the weekend. You can say, I do feel it a bit in the legs, but actually you can drive through that kind of stuff and still produce great performances. Rowing is about crew teamwork and being more than the sum of its parts, and if you can get the rhythm right and you can get the pair moving, you can do the pair and the 8 easily.
Coming through to the end of the first quarter now, Canada are expected to do well here. These two, this is Darcy Marquardt and Jane Rumble. In fact, they're teammates, Heather Manderley and Romina Stefancic, I should say. They actually won the B final a little earlier on in the morning in 7:30, ahead of May-Britt Nielsen and Fie Graugård of Denmark. So again, Canada setting out their stall early, a lot earlier than we often see in the international season.
I'm not quite sure what's going on here. I mean, yes, they're way out in front, and the whole field is almost at level across behind them. So, you know, why they've gone out so fast? Maybe they've got a great deal of confidence about what they can do. It's Darcy Marquardt, you know, is the more experienced of the two. Maybe she's calling it. I don't know, but they've got a length and a half of open water.
Yeah, 1:43.54, and everybody else in the 46s. So Germany and the German crews, Maren Derlien and Nicole Zimmermann at the moment doing rather better than Christina Gherkin and Elke Hippler, but there's a lot of experimentation going on at this moment. 3
boats in line abreast, one 3 or 4 feet behind. It's anybody's race for 2nd and 3rd place, but the Canadians have, as you say, set out their stall, and they're tapping it along. They don't look that uncomfortable. 37, it's quite high, but it's not slow conditions. I noticed that the sculling was about 24 seconds off World Championship record, the women's single sculls. which is not bad at this time of season in a slightly tricky conditions, crosswind.
That's a mighty margin at the halfway distance. Closest to them on the near side, Amber Bradley and Kate Hornsey. Kate Hornsey, who was actually born in Hobart. And the Australians, well, they've got a lot of pedigree in that women's squad, and I would expect them to improve. I think the Australians will come to Beijing with a very strong squad.
It would be part of Australian foreign policy, let alone sporting policy, to do so. It's my impression, looking at the way these crews are spread across the field, that the wind, which was across headwind and was giving a bias towards lanes 1 and 2 against 5 and 6, is now behaving differently and is a bit tailwind. There's a flag right in front of us in the commentary stand, which is influenced by the fact that we're in a big grandstand, and that is blowing straight tail. And looking at the water, I think that the waves are now moving towards the finish, and that although it's slight, it has wiped out that earlier bias, and that these crews are racing on exactly level conditions.
And if for the spectators at least, the sun's out, so that's a welcome sign. It was mighty chilly this morning again.
It certainly was, but I think it'll take a bit more sunshine before the sunbathers come out and begin to populate the far bank, now covered with wonderful purple and white blossom, and a very pleasant place to spend a sunny afternoon. But at the moment, it's the first breakthrough of the clouds, and I think we've got a long day of racing ahead of us before it becomes sunbathing weather. Definitely the bias has gone. We have in lane 6 the Australian crew, Amber Bradley and Kate Hornsey. Now they've pulled up to possibly take, well, they look very close to the lead there, but they're shown as still back in 3rd place.
Yeah, the German pair of Christina Gherkin and Elke Hippler, who are over in lane number 2, they've made good progress in the last 1,000 meters, and the last 500, 1:51.70, that was quicker than the Canadians, and they're putting themselves into contention here. You can just, or we can just see them, because actually the sunlight here is flooding over our television pictures, but they are 2 from the top of the picture, and they're definitely in 2nd place, with the Australians, Bradley and Hornsey, still moving pretty well on the near side. They're out of the picture at the moment. Looking at the Germans in lane 5. Now, this is not their leading pair, and we've switched again.
We've switched again, but we still have Canada, from the beginning, are still in control of this race. In 2nd place, there is now a very, very good race between lane 2, Gherkin and Hippler, the stroke, and 3 girls from the German 8, and in lane 6, Australia, Amber Bradley, 3rd place bronze medalist with Sally Kehoe in Gifu, and Kate Hornsey. Those are the 2 crews, the Germans in lane 2 and the Australians in lane 6, vying for silver and bronze.
But it's been a gun-to-tape performance here. Canada always in charge. Amber Bradley and Kate Hornsey taking on the Germans there, Christina Gherkin and Hippler. It's going to be a photo finish for 2nd place here, and I think the Australians might just nip this and grab the 2nd place. They're up at 44 strokes a minute. Canada take first. Oh, that is tight. Now, the line there is a little deceptive. It looks as if the Germans, Christina Gherkin and Elke Hippler from Lyon and Hanover, just held on. And if they did, it's not by much. It will be by a couple of tenths, or a tenth, I should think. In fact, 140, 270.25 of a second, and Hippler and Gherkin have held on to 2nd place.